Welcome to episode 15 of Founders. In today's episode, we hear from fashion enthusiast and founder of Ford Millinery, Chantelle Ford. As we are living in a global pandemic, Chantelle has recently redirected her talents towards making face masks to support Australians. Her quick thinking by producing face masks has benefited many and serves to inspire other Australian businesses to find ways to support our country and keep their business dreams alive. We apologise for the lower sound quality in this episode, as due to COVID-19, podcasts are now recorded over Zoom. Nonetheless, we hope that you are able to learn something new from this episode with Chantelle Ford.
Chantelle Ford, thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
No problem. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, really good, and it's clearly a hectic time for you. You've done something quite phenomenal that we'll learn more about now. But introducing your business and your brand, so you've been described as the creator of architectural headwear and the leading affordable designer headwear label, and you're distributed globally. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And here we are in this extraordinary time, and you've done something quite remarkable. So before we get into that, can you tell us a bit about that moment that kicked off Ford Millinery for you?
Right, back at the start, yes. Yeah. I guess my auntie was a milliner, and she also worked with her sister, my other auntie. And I, as a little kid, I was always really fascinated, but I loved art, anything creative, anything with your hands. And in the school holidays, I'd go and hang out at their studio, and all of any materials that weren't perfect, I was allowed to play with. So I'd make these absolutely hideous headpieces, pink, frilly, ugly hats. And I just loved it. And I guess as I got older and I was really interested in fashion and design and fashions on the field, I really loved that dramatic, that one day where you can get really dressed up in quite almost a theatrical way. Yeah. And I started making my own headwear, and then people started asking about it. And I was working as a magazine publisher at that time. So for me, I was very, it was the corporate world, and doing that as a hobby. And my auntie asked me, she just said, are you still keen on doing this? Is it still your passion? And I got a bit emotional, actually. I thought, yeah, it is. And she said, well, why don't you just put together a tiny collection and just see if your friends, see what your friends think, see if they like it. And if, put it on Facebook, see if they want to buy something. And I don't really do things by halves, and I don't really like to rely on my friends or family they're always going to support you, which is so lovely. And to this day, it always makes me nervous making them headwear. But so I decided to just go for it. So I made my first collection. I built a website and, had everything photographed professionally, and had built a website. That was within 2 weeks I did that, the collection, the website. And then, in that time, Maya invited me to enter the Millinery Award, which for fashions on the field. And I was like, how is this happening? Then everything took a bit of a sidestep. I went on to a reality TV show, so it got put on hold and then resumed about a year later. But that's how it all came about. I just sort of dove straight in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, you went all in. And it sounds like the epiphany was the emotional challenge from your auntie?
Yeah. I'm quite a I'll say an emotional being. I'm not afraid to, question any reactions. And I thought, gee, I have been doing this as a passion, and all self-taught. I might have looked at what my auntie might have done, but it's all just been figuring it out for myself. And it's been like that with business as well. I learn from those around me, and I question things, and I pull things apart, and I guess that's what led to it. I thought, gee, well, if that is my reaction, then maybe I should give this a go. And I'm not going to do it by halves. To be honest, I think one of my thoughts has always been fail fast. So
Yeah.
Go all in, fail fast, learn fast, change fast, grow fast is how, that's the idea. It doesn't always turn out the grow fast part, but that's sort of been my mentality, which is why I just thought, gee, okay, yep, I've had a response here. I think I can do this. I think I want to do this. And I'm very passionate about business as well. So it has both of those things.
Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And founder life, startup life, it's all consuming. And you mentioned you're an emotional being. So what have been some of the surprise joys or those real moments of, I'm so glad I did this?
Oh, gee, that's a really good question. I think, to be honest, taking stock each day, not every day is good, but to look around and see what you have built. Like behind me, sometimes I look at just even the brand, the
Yeah.
branding. I've got a work van that has my branding on it. And I just think one of the joys for me is knowing that didn't exist at all. It wasn't a thing at all. And any business wasn't a thing at all before somebody thought of it. Even your huge, big, the ones that we, may love to hate, the McDonald's or the,
Yeah.
whether it's that or a bakery, somebody or one or two people had that idea. And I think that is something that really excites me. And knowing that next door I can hear tearing fabric, I can hear, sewing machines, that there's girls in there who love working here,
Yeah.
women, I should say, that, I'm so honored and excited to give opportunities to other people as well. And I love working in a team. I love, bringing on new people into the team that, that fit, that are passionate, that, can contribute. I really get a buzz out of that. And also, this is probably something that I was going to say I haven't got down pat, but maybe it's a creative thing. Maybe it's because I'm designing as well as running the business. When you actually see that, my gosh, people want this. I'm not, yes, we're smart with our PR and our marketing and our everything is very well thought out. It's not luck, but to see that people really do want what we've created,
Yes.
that's a big buzz. And I haven't fully got my head around that. I don't know, it'll continue to grow and I won't fully understand that, which, I'm humbled by that, actually.
And that sounds pretty joyful. So
Yeah.
looking at your backdrop, I can see rolls of material on one edge, and then on the other edge, there is your boxing with product that's just ready to go to a voracious customer. So congratulations.
Yeah.
And then came...
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. And then
what was that, sorry?
Then came COVID-19. And
oh yeah, hi COVID-19. Yeah.
That little thing.
That hit fast. Oh,
tell us your last month, Chantelle. What's happened?
It honestly, head is absolutely spinning. And firstly, I just want to give a little shout out to every small business, every medium business, in fact, every business. Everyone seems to have been affected in some way, and it's just insane. And I'm really hurting for fellow business owners who are hurting. It's, we've got two big problems here. We've got the health devastation and the economic devastation. And then, there's a lot that I know people are losing their jobs. That is a huge thing. And then small businesses who've already sacrificed so much, that's huge. So I just want to give a shout out to them. I really get it.
Yeah.
And that we were no exception to that rule at all. And it happened in the absolute blink of an eye. And this is not a poor me story, because there is a lot worse things going on around the world. So not at all, but sharing insight into what happened for us. We were looking at, I just had a conversation with my accountant saying, you're growing really well. This looks to be, your best year. Your trajectory is really good. It's strong. This is a great position to be in. And, I even corrected some of his figures saying, well, actually we're even, it's actually more like this. He's like, wow, this is great. Literally within a matter of days, it had all stopped, completely and utterly stopped. We were due to have our annual sales meeting with Maya, who are our biggest stockist. That was down in Melbourne. That had been reduced to a Skype meeting, which is so unusual for a fashion business. Normally what happens, you design, you create a lookbook, you go down there, you have heaps of these boxes filled with hundreds and hundreds of styles. You're showcasing them, talking through them. And we have worked on that since November last year. So that's a good solid, 4 or 5 month investment of staff and energy and money. Sampling, we've actually created all that investment in the blink of an eye. Meeting cancelled, not going to spend a cent for spring racing. We don't even know if spring racing will go ahead. The spring and summer meeting is combined into one, so summer is kaput. The autumn winter order that we had already manufactured and sent got returned because Maya closed their doors. So our investment that I'd already copped the expense for, gone. So no return, but yes, the expense is still there. So that's really what I was left with. Weddings cancelled, who's going to go ahead with their 5 guests, including the bride and groom and the celebrant. Weddings cancelled. Autumn racing cancelled. Are you there? Sorry, it just came up with a notice that I've got you.
You're good. It's a bit hangy, but we're good, I think.
All right, good.
Yeah.
And then, so that's it. It just went from, our best year yet, and sort of finally reaching that tipping point of, hey, after all these years, I think I've got it. We're going to do it, to nothing. I'm like, oh, wow. I actually, where do we go? That's how it hit us. And I had to have a conversation with my employee, my personal assistant, how we work. It quite fluctuates with the work. So a lot of the behind the scenes and the leading up to collections, it might be, we keep the team quite tight. Then we bring on other people, whether they're designers, fashion designers, seamstresses, to help. I'll teach them how to make things. So, but that one absolute legend of a staff member that is my wing woman had to have that conversation and say, hey, this is what we are facing, the absolute unknown, but it looks pretty dire. And also breaking the news that work that we'd worked on for 4 or 5 months is not going to see the light of day, which is disappointing for, business people who are very invested in.
Oh yeah.
So that's how it hit us.
And then that moment of there's a potential to pivot. How did that unfold for you?
It was actually just days before Maya pulled the pin on the meeting altogether. So no Skype meeting at all. That we sat down and I said, okay. And I took a very positive approach. I said, okay, here is the situation. This is what we are up against, or at least what we think. This was the early days. We knew something very heavy was about to happen, but we weren't exactly sure. The very solid bans from, the government hadn't come down, closures and whatnot. We had seen some light restrictions, but we could feel that something else was coming. We were obviously looking around the world as well to see what was happening. So we did, based on the absolute unknown, we got a big roll of wrapping paper out, our materials, and a texter. And we said, okay, let's look at what is the likely scenario. Let's assume, what do we think is the most likely outcome? And one of those big things was lockdown, not lockdown. Okay. Yep. So if we go to lockdown, will we have access to the studio? Yes, no, we mapped it out like that. And then on the other side, if there's no lockdown, what will that look like? Then we came up with a little bit of a what the environment will look like before we came up with anything else. And the lockdown means, okay, autumn racing is not happening. So we're not going to make a single sale there. Okay. Weddings are not going to happen. Okay. So we really mapped out our environment first, or at least what we thought our environment might look like. And then we explored different ideas. I said, right, how do we sidestep? Because nobody is going to be buying fancy headwear They're not going to be buying fascinators to sit in lockdown. It's just not going to happen.
Yes, they're just not.
We do have casual wear. No.
Yeah.
I've got a few if you want to borrow them. Yeah. We have casual wear as well, but seriously, if people aren't going out, do they even need, do they need a fun headband? Do they need a fedora? I don't know. So we fell back on this, the mask situation, where we had already explored this for when the tragic bushfires happened in Australia. And this was from a two-pronged thing.
Yeah.
One, there was a shortage of masks. People could not get their hands on adequate protective equipment all around Australia. I, for one, would walk down the street with my T-shirt pulled above my nose, not because it's an official filter, but just so I can breathe at all. So we had discussed potentially making face masks as an alternative, just as something back then. But to be honest, I shied away from it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make any claims that there are any, health benefits that we have no idea, to be honest. I'm not going to put these through testing. I know it's fabric. It doesn't have a filter when they're telling you that surgical masks do nothing. Well, I'm sure that our fabric masks wouldn't either. So I shied away from, I didn't want it to look like we were trying to benefit from a tragedy, which we certainly were not trying to do. We wanted to be able to, I needed a mask. Our staff needed a mask. We were trying to cycle to work or walk to work or get some exercise, and it's not possible. But anyway, we didn't do that. So then when we knew more about this global shortage of PPE all around the world, of face masks, and panic buying as well, people buying out surgical masks and seeing our healthcare workers without, we thought, right, this is now not a time to worry about what anyone thinks of us. It is time to follow our gut and do what we think is right. We actually can help. We can make these masks as an alternative to the not even surgical masks, but other vital PPE that healthcare professionals need to lighten that load.
Yeah.
And that also, we didn't know how much this would work, in terms of whether it would be enough for us to survive on. But in order to keep us going, this potentially could be something, at least we could give it a try to see if we can, if this might be enough to keep my staff employed. Just one employee that I was hoping to increase her to full-time hours because she's finished her studies, then that was something we wanted to look at. And then we compared that little plan against what do we think is most probable to happen in our environment, and then also what's the most dangerous thing that can happen in our environment. Does that one plan fit that, and does it fit that? And it did. So we thought, right, let's give this a go, and we did it very, very quickly.
And has it worked? How are sales? Because when I read your story in the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, it didn't come across as any attempt to profiteer or take advantage. It was very clearly a fabulous offer with smart design. And were you the model on that shot with the red face mask?
Yep.
See, that works so well. So did the customer believe it?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely do not have any. If we wanted to take advantage of the situation, we would be selling hand sanitizer. Listen, my partner bought this for me for $20. I mean, come on. And I was selling singular surgical face masks, which apparently do not even block COVID-19, for $20 for a single one.
Yeah.
I am being inundated with offers to buy surgical masks. And that's not what we're about. That is not what we're about. So no, we are not here to make money off that. I mean, benefit from a tragedy in any way. But yes, absolutely. What we are trying to do, and this is, I'm really excited by this, that answering your question, yes, it has worked so far. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what will even happen this afternoon. I have no idea. But our plan is to lighten the load for the healthcare workers who need PPE. as the Prime Minister put it, we have to share the pain. This is,
Yeah.
there's no time for perfection everywhere. This is a
Yeah.
time to share the pain as a community and come together to actually prioritize who needs what. And so for us, creating these fabric masks is a lighter alternative for the general public who may need to just duck out to the shops to get the essentials. It's just an added barrier. But by buying that instead of vital PPE, there's a healthcare worker who is having to look at somebody's throat, even if they're not a COVID-19 patient, get right down and dirty, to, hey, I've got a scratchy throat, or can you look at my eye? They're right in their face. They need protection.
Yeah.
So we're addressing that. Also, we're keeping a small business alive, which is, that's for me, obviously, as a small business owner, but that's for my staff as well. There's people there that just mentally and for their well-being still have a job to go to, which is incredible. That also lightens the load on the economy. They're not lining up at Centrelink. I'm not lining up at Centrelink.
Yeah.
And then at the end of this, if we survive this, well, then we're still around to keep paying taxes.
Yeah.
So there's that two-prong, and then also the health benefits as well. These masks, while they're not designed to be absolutely hole-proof, 100% defend from COVID-19, these are also to help slow the spread of COVID-19. And what we're doing as well under our Masks for Mates initiative, and this was a huge part of our initial plan as well. As we said from the get-go, we said, look, we want to donate something to charity somehow. And I'm like, but who? What charity? What? We've never faced this before. Who needs donations with COVID-19? Do people actually need money donations? Who? And then it was actually my employee who had the idea, why don't we donate a mask? For every mask we sell, why don't we donate a mask to people who need them? Like, yes. Right. Because there are, look, even people working at Coles, they might not be treating COVID-19 patients, but they are risking themselves every day. So there's a few areas we're trying to help with that, and the general public responded really well, and I think they might feel good that they're also helping all of those different avenues, which is so wonderful to see. I'm really appreciative.
Well, and I'm proud of you too, because I think there'll be that question, where were you during COVID-19? And what you've done is to really, I think, honour your brand and honour your creativity by going out the way that you have. So, terrific. Finally, where to from here, Chantelle? You think there could be just a little shift in public policy and suddenly masks are going to be required and essential? Just looking at Singapore this morning, 1,400 people infected. So the future's still uncertain with this virus. In terms of the sweet spot for you, do you think it's still ahead of you?
I actually don't know. I think if we've learned anything from COVID-19 itself, and, I'm not a medical professional, but if we've learned how it unleashes itself, but then also how governments respond rightfully, we don't know at any given moment. And right at the start, it would just change minute by minute. We had feeds of the Prime Minister speaking, and then we're like, well, hang on, is it this? Is it this? Can you exercise with one person or two people? It changes all the time. And we follow those guidelines absolutely. And it will be interesting to see what happens. There was a call from a few different government areas to assist with PPE. And we answered that call through the various, through New South Wales government, and also the federal government as well, Department of Health. We started creating plastic face shields, and they're hefty. I'm wondering if I have one pre-made. I'll send you a photo. They're actual plastic face shields for medical professionals, and that came from a healthcare worker saying, hey, I hear you're making these masks. Can you help us? Can you create these things? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I've created plastic visors that go down the runway at Fashion Week.
Yeah.
That's not too hard for me to do. I can do that. So I developed these plastic face shields and applied to the government to say, yep, we can do this. We got them in manufacture. I actually work with a plastic manufacturer for some other headpieces that I do, some handcrafted headpieces. So I already had that contact. I said, right, this is what we want to do. How many can we manufacture? Got that all ready to go. And, we were approved by the New South Wales government to provide to them if they need. But that keeps changing too. It's a really slow process, to be totally honest. And maybe this will all be done before they actually ever need face shields, which would be a great position for the Australian health. But we just don't know. So we're ready. We've got face shields ready to go. We're in an interesting spot as well, because the government this is a bit of a side note, the government have warned that anybody who exports any PPE can be convicted and fined really heavily. We're getting contacted by people from all over the world who actually genuinely need our help.
Yeah.
A woman wanted to donate 50 to a Greek hospital because they have nothing. There are, this week there's been heaps of New York nurses die, and recently one died who was pregnant. We have this stuff available, and I desperately want to. I can help, but also at the same time, we're kind of placed on hold, which is sort of understandable, but a bit disappointing too, because we are legit about wanting to help people. If the Australian government don't need them, we kind of want to know so that we can help other people. Because right now, we can help.
Ready to go.
So but sorry, that was a bit of a sidetrack of where to from here. The answer is I truly don't know what will happen, but we are lucky enough we're a pretty agile team. We're a small team that can move quickly. We can make sideways steps pretty quickly. We're true to our brand. We only do what is true to us, but also I think we've proven to ourselves that in addition to staying true to our brand, that when it comes to doing something that might actually be needed, then maybe we need to, I don't know, the side step looks different these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for your story. And finally, any advice, anything you'd say to an aspirational, I'm ready to start a business person, or someone like you with a bit of a glint in your eye around what's possible and what could be?
I would say find your point of difference, really research it, really, really research it. Just because there's a burger shop on the corner, it doesn't mean there's not space for another burger shop 2 corners down or in the next suburb. There is space, but find your niche, find your point of difference. See how that resonates with you, see where you can position yourself and really drive that forward. And I guess the other thing is you have to go hard.
Yeah.
That's my experience. Nothing by halves. You really just go for it. Just do it, and do it hard. Fail fast if you need to. And failing is not permanent.
Yeah.
It is not permanent. It's constant. In my experience, it is constant, but that's it. It's kind of the same as success. It's kind of fail or succeed. And when you fail, you're like, okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Pull it apart, dissect it. How can we tweak it? Reapply it. Okay. I think, embrace things not working, because I think that is what an entrepreneur is. It is finding a problem, matching it with a solution, and communicating it in a creative way. So if there ain't no failure, there ain't no problem, there ain't no solution.
And full stop. That's just a perfect, succinct description. And I think we need to follow this up when everything relaxes and we get back face to face. We'd love to have you speak to a group or two.
Thank you. It's really nice to speak with you.
Yeah. Chantelle, all the best. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and good luck to everybody out there with all the small businesses. We can do it. Hopefully we can all get through.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Thanks again.
We hope that you have learned something valuable from this episode with Chantelle Ford. For more entrepreneurial insight, follow Nicholas Bolter on LinkedIn and Founders of AUS on Instagram.